Hello everyone, my name is Mayorov Nikita. I'm an international grandmaster. In this video series, I will share my knowledge on modern defense. Modern defense arises after the next move order e4, g6, bishop d4, bishop g7. This is a hyper modern chess opening, and this is a not classical chess opening. And in this opening, black allows white to occupy the center. So in this setup, white has three options. Knight c3 is the most principal way how to deal with the modern defense. Knight to f3 and c4. But c4 is not. But usually c4 transposes into King's Indian, and King's Indian. This is not topic of our um, video series. Okay, knight to c3. This is a most ambitious move, but also there is knight f3. Um, the idea of knight f3 is not to develop this knight on c3 and to protect this pawn with queen e2 in this line, or with bishop d3 in this line. These two lines are very solid. Okay, this is not a dangerous line for black, but of course black has to know what to do. And against bishop c4, knight to f6, usually in this position, um, white protect this pawn with queen e2. And here black has two options. We will cover this two possibilities in one of our videos about this setup. And first is c6, the favorite move of world champion Mikhail Botvinnik. The idea this move is to so bishop b3. Yes, the idea is to play d5. For this reason, white has to drop this bishop on b3, and so bishop d3, bishop g4, or maybe first to play a4 and threatening to attack this bishop. I think that a4 is normal move. Bishop g4 and knight b2. Yes, and e6. And this is this idea to give up this bishop and then to put pawns on um, white squares is very typical to is very similar to Caro-Kann defense. And Mikhail Botvinnik was a big specialist in Caro-Kann, and he won with this opening in uh, the second world championship match against Mikhail Tal. And okay, and he uh, exploited this idea. So he exploited Caro-Kann ideas in uh, modern defense and G6 opening. So this is very interesting. Okay, and if and the second setup for black here is short castle, and then bishop g4. And black's idea is to attack this with knight c6. Yes, and then knight c6. This is also very typical setup for black. Bishop g4, knight c6. Very very good idea. So, and here to attack the center with c5. And if bishop e3, knight to d7. And black has a very good game here also. After this, the position is very similar to, again, to King's Indian, but the pawn is on c2, on c3. The bishop is, the position of this bishop is weird. And okay, and black has a very comfortable game. So the typical idea here for black is to exchange this dark squared bishop, for example, king to okay, and then bishop h6. Okay, something like okay, but of course we will cover this line more deeply in the in one in one of our uh, next videos about bishop c4 line. The second, yeah, but also very good, not very good, but quite dangerous thing that uh, again this move black has to be very careful, and it is very important how to deal with this line. Knight to d5 and short castle bishop, but okay, but here black, I think c6 is also a good idea. White has to play this move because after knight b2 it's also the Botvinnik's idea to give up this bishop and then to put pawns on white squares, uh, and knight to d7. And black has a good game here too. And this is, and here it's very important to control this d5 square with the knight in this line. Okay, after queen e2, I think that more dangerous is the main idea. The more dangerous for black is e5. But even after e5, black has a comfortable game too. But mm, this is very important to know what to do here. So a few words about bishop to d3, knight to f6, about this setup. In this setup, black has three options. First is knight to c6 and knight b to d7. Second, the idea is to play 5, and the third is c5. And but this the idea of this move is this is transposition to Sicilian defense Alapin variations. But in our video we will cover knight to c6 and knight b to d7. Okay, a few words about knight c6. Very okay. This is a good idea. e5. Here I suppose that White's main idea and um, is to play h3 with the idea to play bishop e3, then knight b to d2. So this setup is the most ambitious for white, I think. And here black has to, and for black here the very uh, in this after knight c6, this plan is very strong for black, and this is a you have to remember this idea. This is a very important idea in this setup, and also very important not to play knight e4 immediately. This is a very bad move because mm, this bishop is restricted with this pawn wall, and mm, you have to remember that this is a positional mistake. So, and if you want to occupy the square, it's better to play the queen f6 and then knight f4. Yeah, with the idea to take, intending to take queen f6 and knight f4, intending to take on f4 with queen. Okay, for black here. Yeah, but also white has another idea is to protect this pawn with knight to b3, but the position of this knight is vulnerable here, and after a5, a4, e takes d4, and this is also very typical for this setup, and then knight to b4. c4, and black has a very good game here. So the main position here arises after this bishop to e3, h6, knight b to d2, and here if queen f6, I suppose that the most ambitious and the most unpleasant, maybe not unpleasant, but the position is very complicated and it's difficult to evaluate. So this is the position is very similar to King's Indian. So and it's difficult to say who is better here. The point that the computer evaluation is it's quite difficult for computer to evaluate King's Indian, and usually computer in King's Indian computer gives a big advantage for white, but in practice and in human chess it's not easy because black has a strong attack always, and it's quite difficult to defend. So the second option for black is to play rook to 8. Yes, and here again this with the idea to transpose into c3 line. Sorry, to transpose into King's Indian. So also you have to know here that the old plan for white is to take immediately, and here it's better to take on d5 with knight. So this is the old plan. White's idea is to develop pieces, so develop this bishop on e3, and then to occupy the space on the queen side. And here for black, it's important not to develop this bishop on b7 because after before b6, for example, bishop to e3, knight to b7, something like this. Yes, and so the white has a very clear plan on the queen side. It's very easy for white to play this position, and this is what we should avoid with black. This type of, and here important moment, knight to h5, very important move. The idea is to play knight e4, and also you have to remember that after bishop e3, this is a bad idea for black, for white, because to take on e4, because uh, now this bishop is very strong. So white um, has to avoid this knight e4 with g3, and after bishop h3, for example, some queen e7, rook f to d8, black has a very good game. Or even if you play against weaker players and you know that your opponent can take on e5, you can start with knight to d7, and then this move, and then to take with knight. And black has a very comfortable position. And so about this move, here white has this setup and knight b to d2. I think that knight b to d2, this is more complicated and more ambitious for white. But I think that both this setup, both these setups are not dangerous for black. After knight b2, rook e2, here we have this, something like this, bishop d6, and sometimes the position, and this is pawn structure, and the position is very similar to uh, Rui Lopez, Breyer variation, but the difference that in Breyer the pawn is on b5 and uh, it favors white because this is a weakness. And here, mm, and also black has a lot of um, extra moves because in they so in Breyer and in Spanish uh, the bishop is on e7 and usually in Rui Lopez black has to improve this bishop with this maneuver. Bishop e7, bishop f8, bishop g7, and here the bishop on is so here black won a lot of tempo. Okay, I think black is fine here. And after bishop to g5, once again this queen e8, very important idea. Yeah, the idea behind of this move, we need to play knight h5 and to occupy this very important square once again. And here black has to wait for the knight c4 and to meet, black has to meet knight c4 with knight b6 with a good counterplay for black. And also here there is knight to c6. Yes, and also here there is this move. This is the idea of Victor Kashna. Here black has to give up this bishop, and this trading is this trading favors black side, and black has a comfortable game. For example, this bishop. Okay, and we will cover this later. Okay, so now knight c3. This is and here after d6, white has plenty of opportunities. The most ambitious are f4 and bishop to e3. Mm, and also the solid approach knight to f3, and then bishop e2 or bishop to e3. And fianchetto variation g3. And this is a very good idea. Unfortunately, for big fans of modern defense, uh, so good news for Pirc's fans, and bad news for modern modern chess players fans, that in most of the variations, I suppose that black has to transpose into Pirc's defense. Okay, few words about f4. From my point of view, knight f6. This is the strongest continuation. Knight to f3. And here I will cover c5. So this is I think this is a strong move, but you need to remember a lot of variations. And especially this position is complicated. But this position is complicated for both sides, and this crazy position, and even this move, king d7, crazy move. But okay, but this is a not bad move, and it makes sense to play in such style. Okay, for computer, this position, the evaluation is terrible, but I think bishop h3. From practical point of view, it's not easy for white. Also, you have to know against what to do against this, and this tricky move, queen d2, d4. Very important here, this to sacrifice this pawn. And also, of course, we will cover short castle, of course, and this is very important line, very important, very interesting position of Austrian attack. Of course, we will cover briefly d5, or maybe knight d5. But, and of course, we will cover bishop to e3. Interesting move. But once again, I want to say that the most dangerous and the most fundamental is bishop to d3 and this position for white. And after c5, d4, very important for black to remember, to memorize this move. But okay, we will cover this in one of our videos. Bishop to g4, and then to give up this bishop. This is very important because otherwise, after knight to c7, queen e1, this, e6, white has a winning attack. So what else? Sorry? About bishop e3 line, and here a6. Here I recommend. I will cover. I will analyze classical modern defense. Queen to d2. Yes, and this position is very, very interesting, very complicated. But unfortunately for black, the main position This is one of the main positions, and this is a very logical. But yes, this position is nowadays this is a very dangerous for black because again this move white has a very strong continuation e5 and black is in trouble. Yes, and here e6 very strong and white is winning. Check. After this bishop d4, the terrible position. The evaluation of this position is very bad for black. This is a bad news for us, but black has other interesting options. I think that better is to play h6. The idea behind of this move is to control this g5 square. Also, interesting is to start with bishop b7, for example, or maybe h6, c6, the waiting move. The idea of this waiting move is to give up this bishop, and this trading is uh, very useful for black. Uh, this this position is comfortable for black. Black is doing very well here after this trading. There's also the red disk continuation, but I think that this is not so dangerous and very important moment here that this move knight to c6. Okay, we will cover this. This is quite a rare line, but it's quite dangerous also. All these ideas with a long castle, for me, this is a very dangerous options. And of course, it's better to play modern defense, to play g6 against solid. From my point of view, it's better to play against solid players who avoid these aggressive lines. But Austrian, it's okay. Austrian, it's okay for me. Uh, I'm not scared about Austrian attack, but yes, but I have a fear of this bishop e3. So, but if you study this bishop e3 line very deeply, and I will show you um, some modern games which was played in this line. Uh, for what is also very complicated too. So okay, knight to c3. Now a few words about knight to f3. Classical variation. Knight to f6, bishop to e2, short castle, and I will cover bishop g4. I think this is the most principal way to play. Yes, this is, and then e5, and this is a very interesting position. I strongly recommend you to study these lines, and I strongly recommend you to play these lines with black. And okay, there is this move, but okay, but this is not dangerous for black. It's not a draw, and after queen c8, the position is quite complicated, and for both with chances for both sides. And also interesting idea, rook to 8. Yeah, the idea to sacrifice this trick is very important to remember. So in this setup, rook 8 is a very useful move for black. You have to remember this. Also, we will cover some interesting options not to fight for the center, a6 and e6. So the idea is to, I will show you example h3, knight to c6, bishop e3, and then b6. So this bishop to b7, rook to d1. The idea is to get Utelki system, Utelki setup. Yeah, but here against this classical system, uh, it's this is a possible plan for black too. This is not bad. Ah, sorry, and I forgot. Yes, and very important here for if white wants to fight for the advantage. Very important to for white. It's very important to study d5. I think this is the most dangerous approach for white. But here white has chances even uh, to get worse position. Okay, and few words about g3, fianchetto system, knight g2, knight to f3. This is not dangerous, and here black has to play this and 5, and then to attack the center with bishop d7. This is, and black has a very good game. Yeah, this is knight f3 is a strange move, of course. More logical here. This is a this continuation. And in this system, fianchetto variation, very solid very solid approach for white and black. But okay, it's quite dangerous if black doesn't know what to do. But I will show you um, two plans. First plan is to break the center pawn d4 with e5, and, and here black has two setups. First setup like this. This is very similar to King's India. We will cover this. And the second setup is very similar to Philidor. Sorry. a3, bishop to b7, bishop to e3, knight b to d7, and this is a very comfortable position because black has, in the middle game, black has this plan a5, b4, and then to attack this pawn because of e takes d4, rook e8, and this pawn is hanging. So, in this case, if white allows black to grab the space on the queen side with b5, the position is very, very, so it's not easy for white. And for this reason, white has to stop this before idea with a4. Sorry, a4. Yes, and here black has a very nice plan. First is to bring this knight to b4, this square. And the second is, again, very nice positional maneuver is to bring this bishop on a6. Okay, and black has a very comfortable game. Okay, we will cover this, of course. This is this interesting position. So here, very important to do to know what to do in this move. And okay, and also very interesting position for black is to attack the center with c5, and then to develop bishop on b7. Yes, and this is a transposition to some hybrid variation, and some hybrid variation between Neidorf and Drunken variation in Sicilian defense. This is a very interesting position, a very interesting play. Yeah, very important here. The reason why rook b8, because if you play c5, sorry, Fianchetto, for white, this is it is better to start with h3 first before the castle. And here c5 is a very bad idea because bishop e3, and if here rook to b8, yeah, b6 is a bad because of e5, and the rook is hanging, white is winning. And if rook b8 here, there is a very strong this d5 with a big advantage for white. Yes, and for this reason, first h3, rook to b8, bishop e3, c5. Sorry, yeah, but what to do? Okay, shot castle. Also interesting idea is Kramnik variation, then c5 here. This is also very interesting. Okay, finally, at the end, finally, I want to say that very important for black, of course. This is not dangerous, but we okay. Uh, I will offer you here. I think that knight to okay. Black has two options here, both playable. But after this, the position is very simple. I think that black has a comfortable game, but mm, okay, we will cover the interesting position, but okay, it's close to a draw, and now I realized that black has to play knight into d7. And okay, h5 is a very sharp line, very old. This is sacrifice of this. Yeah, beautiful here. This is a very old line, and but okay, but this is not so dangerous, and it's not so difficult for black to remember this. Yes, here beautiful this trick, but knight to g5. Not that great, I think. Okay, we will, of course, I see, we will. If we play modern defense, we need to study this line. I think this is very important. Yeah, but nowadays very popular for the modern, the modern, very popular line. This bishop c4. The idea that after this, sorry, no, c5 immediately is a very bad idea because this, and now h4 with winning position for white. Yeah, but I think that after knight d6, then c5, the position is complicated, and this is not bad position. Okay, this is dangerous, but you have to know what to do. If you don't know the theory, this is very dangerous for black. But if black study this line, I think this is not dangerous. I think that uh, more solid and um, this bishop d3. Okay, and this position is very important. Yeah, but here for white, of course, white has to know what to do against knight. It's knight to c6, of course. This is very important. What to do? Yes, and then study this position. Okay. Next video we will start with Austrian attack, of course.